give birth to their kids over there, and their kids are U.S. citizens growing in the culture of the U.S. in Ghanaian homes, and their Ghanaian parents are trying to inculcate their culture in the kids, and the kids don't have any other place to experience that culture apart from the home and the church, possibly. So this is what is sometimes causing some cultural frictions, but the differences that I see are mostly about our perceptions about of things, things in life. What Ghanaians call as respect versus what is seen as respect in the U.S. So that if someone who expects certain things to happen as display of respect goes to the U.S. and does not see those things, sometimes the person thinks they don't respect, but they respect. But maybe it's the perception of what respect is. So these are some of the things that are different.
Okay. Papa, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I think one dimension that I'll also add to that is our churches or our congregations in the U.S. are sometimes or mostly built by sometimes people who are also non-Presbyterians. Because you go to a community and you start a Ghanaian church and people from different backgrounds come together for us to start a church. And you kind of see people trying to introduce their backgrounds, if they are SDAs or Catholics or Pentecostals, into the church. And so you sometimes see those friction also happen, and it's interesting. But what Papa said, especially the environment there, it's different. There are a whole lot of systems that might work favorably in Ghana, but it's difficult there. Yeah.
I see. Even in Ghana, when cultures meet, you see how the friction be. Even just the language, even just dressing or some food. And I can imagine how you are, just as you gave the analysis, you are born in the Ghanaian home and they want to instill their culture. You grow within a community with a different culture, and the children seems to want to blend or want to look at it this way, and a different perspective when it comes to even just the word respect. Just the word respect. So, Papa, bringing it to the congregation as you just started, how does the congregational activities dynamics in there also work? Since you may not just have only typical Ghanaians, you may even have Ghanaians who were born in US and grew within that culture we are talking about, and so even the Ghanaian culture itself, they are not so much familiar with it. How do you blend them? And some people have also grown in Ghana and have joined the church, and they want to instill the Ghanaian sort of discipline, sort of. How do you blend this in the church? Let me start with you, Doc.
Yeah, even in the US, depending on which state, there's also another.
The state also has its
dimension, because those of us in the West, we are more, I would say, more foreign than those in the East. Because the East, those in New York and Ohio and Worcester and all these places, they are exposed to a lot of Ghanaians. And so when you go to the churches over there, you can see something close in resemblance to what we have home. But when you come to the West, then the dynamics also changes the language that you have to use. Because in New York, you can easily find a lot of young youth and kids that can easily speak and understand the local language. But when you come to the West, those things are not common. It's difficult to see kids interacting in the local language. And so that alone, even in the US alone, there is that differences that we face there. Then our dynamics. Somebody coming from Ghana, somebody who have lived there for like 40 years, 30 years, all the things that you have to bring building ministry. But one thing that I always say is that as a church, we have a framework, and you have to make sure that you keep the framework. But there are areas that you can tweak it. If it's about language, you can tweak it. If it's about time management, because there are certain areas, it is fine. You can do a service for 3 hours and there will not be any issue. Other areas, doing service
a very big issue.
For 3 hours, probably you will be left with the pastor and the wife. And so these are things that you have to take into consideration.
I will take it from there. We will come back again and we will continue. In fact, viewers, if you are watching us, this is the PCG TV Diaspora mission. And it has been with us. We are discussing North America, Australia Presbytery activities. And it's been awesome. It's been awesome. And we are now looking at the cultural dynamics. Stick and stay with us. Don't go away. We will be right back. You are welcome back to our show, the PCG TV Diaspora Mission. And if you are joining us, this is the time you're joining us. You've missed a little, but not too much. And you've not missed so much. So stick and stay with us. We are discussing issues of diaspora mission, and we are looking at the cultural dynamics, and that is where we just left off. And so we will bring in Papa Frank to the framework, as Papa said. How do you do? You mentioned that even in the East, it's quite different as to the West. What are some of the practical things you do to blend such differences when they arise?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Our presbytery, as Papa said, even within the presbytery, we have different cultures because we have Canada, we have Australia, and in the USA itself, we have those areas that he was mentioning.
So that means the presbytery even have about 3 continents?
Yes.
Three, right?
We have
2 continents.
Australia and US.
Okay.
America. So what we do usually is that you want to stick to what the scripture is saying, and how Presbyterians do our ministry. So that whichever cultural persuasion that you are ministering to, if you are preaching the word, you're doing it the way Presbyterians do. All the people from the various generational backgrounds and cultural backgrounds will find themselves somewhere, at least somewhere, so that you try to understand both the younger generation and the older generation, and do a ministry where you don't want to concentrate on the younger ones and lose the older ones, or concentrate on the older ones and lose the younger ones.
I see.
So you want to blend it when it comes to music. If you you want to sing hymns, and those things, you are likely to lose the younger generation. And if you go to the contemporary music too much, you will lose the older generation. So you always need guidance. And at the same time, since you are a minister of God in the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, you want to teach the younger generations, because the scripture says we should teach them. We should teach them, and when they grow, they will not depart from it. So it is our duty to teach the younger ones. So when you're doing a program, you bring our traditional ones that we know, you bring some ingredients from it, whilst you add ingredients of the contemporary ones, so that you will at least arrest the interest of the young ones and those of their parents. So it is just the regular way of doing ministry, where when you go to any locality, you study how they live and give the word in accordance with how they will take it. So you just need the scripture and contextualize the scripture, and you need PCG, like you have to know how we do our things.
Presbyterian
Yes,
system,
Presbyterian system,
how it works.
and like contextualize it too.
Okay.
So it's just contexts that change.
Listening to you, when people are, especially ministers, are transferred to the presbyteries outside of the country, it's like, quote and unquote, a privilege, sort of. You know, you go in somewhere like US, you've been transferred to Australia. It's like, hey, I'm going abroad, you know. But looking at the ministry over there, Papa, would you describe this transfers as that's prestigious, or as a normal transfer, as we also do from
One
Amangwase
presbytery
to Ankase and all that?
I think I would say yes and no.
Okay.
One, because of the environment that we are coming from, even if anybody is traveling, even going somewhere, once the person is boarding a plane, everybody thinks that the person is privileged. I had opportunity to meet students in Cuba because we started a Cuba Student Fellowship. And if you go to a place like Cuba and you talk to the students, and probably their families think they are privileged, but Cuba probably might even be worse than what we have in this country, but it's a perception. And so in that case, the person leaving the shores of Ghana and going outside, it's difficult to think what others will think.
Yeah.
But the opportunities in the US, and I would say there are challenges too. And some of the opportunities is you get into an environment whereby you are exposed to a lot of things that you might not be exposed to here.
Yeah.
But some of the challenges is that you will not also come and meet bigger churches that you are familiar here, because most of the congregations are very small.
Yeah.
You can be posted from a congregation of about 2,000 to a congregation of less than 50 people. And because we are in a foreign country, that is not our home. You can't find many people there. But it's left for you, like Papa said, to see how you can adjust yourself and build a ministry to the glory of God. And we've had ministers come and do great work in that dimension. And so it's a perception, there's an opportunity and there's a challenge. But make sure that once you get into the challenge, it is like being transferred to any place in Ghana whereby it is challenging there. And we know stories of people, ministers who have left the shores of Accra to the north or to other places, deprived areas. And when you are trying to transfer them back, they don't want to come back anymore. So it is the same way there.
So let me chip in this question. How is the ministry over there, or the focus of the ministry? Is the diaspora mission of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana geared towards only Ghanaians who are there, as it were, Presbyterians and non-Presbyterians who are there, or you are also targeting for instance, Americans who are purely Americans, white people, to also be able to join the church? Is it targeted to the Ghanaians alone, or to the so both of you will take it up?
Okay.
So Papa, you can start.
I think largely for now our mission focus, the mission assignment that we've done, I would say for the past 10 years, have been focused largely to Ghanaians. And so, but in recent times, we are trying to pilot a model that was started in Europe, the Global Presbyterian Worship Centers, that is doing well in Europe. And we are trying to pilot them also in the US to be able to attract non-Ghanaians and the indigenes. And so there is an initiative that we started last year, and currently we have about 6 congregations under that umbrella that we are piloting. And the target areas is mostly student communities, because we have a lot of Ghanaian students that are also traveling to the US to study. And so I would say with our new presbytery chairperson, that is something that we are working on as a presbytery to see how we can get connected to the diaspora. But over the years, it's been largely Ghanaians.
Okay. Former clerk of the presbytery.
Yeah. I think we are still in Jerusalem and Judea.
Okay.
Yeah, we are largely in Jerusalem and Judea. We hope to get to Samaria and the end of the world. Because when you go to our churches, many of our churches, we still use Ghanaian languages.
Okay.
We still use Ghanaian languages. We sing presby hymns, and most of them sing in our Ghanaian languages.
Okay.
And when it is time for praise and adoration,
It is in the Ghanaian.
it is the Ghanaian songs. So when people join the church, we have foreigners in the churches, some of the churches. But when they join, some of them would want to go to the English service.
Okay.
We have studied English services too, in addition to what Papa said, so that the English services will focus on the youth and foreigners, so that when you come there, you hear the language that is being used. And even with that, we still sing mostly Ghanaian praises. Sometimes when you are analyzing some of these things, something like, God, you so good, God, you are kind. You think you are doing English service and you are singing English praises, but that song is a Ghanaian song.
It's actually Ghanaian.
Yes. So all the songs that we are singing at our English services that are English are still Ghanaian or Nigerian songs. So if someone who is from US, Australia, or somewhere joins the church, the person has to learn those songs too. So it means even though we are using English in some of our churches, we are still ministering to Jerusalem and Judea people. But there are foreigners. My church, there is a foreigner. No, there are foreigners in my congregation. So I know that there are foreigners within our churches, but we are largely Ghanaian churches.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see. And so I was going to ask, if not even the indigenes of Americans that you draw in, what about maybe the Nigerians, the Africans, other African nations? But since you talked about the language and some of the, so the English service is trying to cater for those ones.
Yeah. And if I may add in a minute, building a ministry to attract a foreigner, somebody who is not from your culture and country, there has to be a lot of intentionality to it. Like Papa largely said, and I've even not thought about that, because some of us have been champions of opening up our ministry for others to come. But I've not talked about even the songs that we sing, which is focused on, which are largely Ghanaian songs.
But maybe in English.
And so it is something that we have to look at as a church and be intentional about it, because other churches have done it and they've succeeded, and we see them, even though we wouldn't say they've succeeded 100%, but we see much more improvement in terms of foreigners like Nigeria, especially the Africans, going to their churches more than us. And so that's something we are working on here.
All right. That's very, very important. The dynamism of ministry in the diaspora. If you have a family, you have a family member or relative, somebody who has a friend who has traveled outside, tell the person, the Presbyterian Church of Ghana is doing marvelously good over there, reaching the people. let the person locate Presby Church. We will be telling you some of the locations, and we'll show you how to even connect to the Present Church of Ghana wherever you go, even in the program. So stick and stay with us. Don't go away. We are going to show you a lot about the Present Church of Ghana. Welcome back. This is still PCG TV Diaspora Mission. God have sent us, not just in Ghana, not just in your community, but to the ends of the world. So the Present Church of Ghana is everywhere. That is why mostly some people even describe the church as a global church, because this is a church that is everywhere. Now we are sticking our necks to everywhere where people don't want to go and preach the word. We are there to preach the word. And we are still talking about the diaspora churches and how the Present Church of Ghana is doing. And we are looking at the worship dynamics. And so we will go back, and then I want to find out. The traditional touch, the African or the Ghanaian traditional touch you put into your worship style, worship services, that will make the people who have traveled here feel like they are home, sort of the home feel, Yeah. What are some of the things you do to make people get to that state?
Yeah, actually, we need that. We need that touch. If you don't have that touch, you can't build a Ghanaian church. So, because first of all, there are many people who have already lived in Ghana and traveled outside. Yeah. They want to see a church that is Ghanaian to attend. So when they see a poster or any advertisement or whatsoever, or somebody tells them that there's a Ghanaian church and they come, they want to have the taste of Ghana in the service. Sure. And even those who are growing there, those who were born there, we need to teach them who we are, so that they grow to be who they need to be. They don't have to lose their identity because they were born outside Ghana. So some of the things that we do are, one, the dance, the dance, the praise, the praises. The whites, when you look at their churches, they don't do that praise and worship those days.
With that vibrant
dancing. Yeah, they don't do that.
They don't do that.
They can sit down, and when it's time to sing, maybe it is printed or it is
on the screen.
On the screen they just sing it. No one is dancing. It's not their culture.
Let me just shift in this. I went to UK, and then I visited the UK church, and then we were there. The preacher stood there, was preaching. Very nice preaching, The service was closed. I didn't know that.
Yes.
And my wife said, "We have closed." I said, "Oh, just like that." Oh, you see recession. Yes. I was like,
"That." See those things. Someone going to give announcement. The person comes, gives the announcement, and then goes to the second book.
Yes.
For those who are doing VTO. Those things are not in white churches. Women's fellowship should give us a song. All those things are not in white churches. So that the touch, the Ghanaian touch, one, we do praise and adoration.
Okay.
It is helping our churches.
Of course.
We do praise and adoration.
We are Ghanaians. We need to shake
and
the body.
Yes, and we have also used the generational and intergenerational groups very well, so that those groups will also do what is designed for their generation, so that we can minister more reasonably to them, and also give them chance to partake in church life, like BSPG is going to sing.
Okay.
Today, YPG will read the Bible.
Okay.
Those things are Ghanaian things.
All right.
So as we do them, singing band, mostly taking offering, a catechist doing the work of a catechist, senior presbyter, clerk, those things that are, so they are the things that we do for people to see that this is a Ghanaian church.
Anything to add from the West?
Yeah.
They say good things comes from the West.
Like the way Papa is describing it, I know he's familiar. Like I said earlier on, that the East is more closer to our tradition than the West. But of course, like I mentioned earlier on, keeping the framework of a church, because we belong to a tradition, we belong to a denomination, and every denomination and the way that they do their things. And so even if you want to modify it, you still want to have those frameworks there. And so in the West, we might not be so conservative as the East, but still, like he mentioned, there's still the praises, there's still the, in some of the congregations that have the numbers, because most of the West churches are also not as big as the East churches. In the East, you can find congregations as much as 400, 500, as compared to the West. Most of our congregations are like 120, 100, 80. And so you might not be able to have everything that you want in the church, but still we keep the framework. We do all the traditional things that has to be there, yeah.
All right.
Please let me add that we do procession, we do recession, but in all these we try to keep to the time. I think that question will come, or it will be discussed later, because that
timelines,
management
Let's
is
talk about
very
it. How
important.
Is it? Because here a minister can preach for just the sermon 2 hours, 3 hours.
Sometimes when we go to church, I remember I attended a church in Ghana not long ago, and the one who was leading the service used about 30 minutes to do the opening prayer.
Okay.
So I was just watching. I thought someone would see that the service leader was taking too much time. But it also appeared that it was not an issue.
It's normal.
Yeah.
That's the word. It's normal.
Yes.
Normal.
If you do that in the Western presbyteries, you are likely to drive away most of the people in the church.
The following Sunday, you will be alone.
Yeah, they will be living in one service. People will be leaving, and the number that will start, you will see that by the time of the benediction, about half of them are already gone. And if that persists, what will happen is that a time is coming where you will come to church and people will not come at all. Because some people also don't feel good getting up and leaving during service. So if it will be that long, then I will not come
at all.
Yes. So time management is an issue in some of the churches, because it's not their fault. It's not their fault. Some people come from work to church.
Okay.
And the hours that they are supposed to use to rest and go to work again, they spend all the hours in church and leave church to work. So coming from work to church and then church to work, it's not easy. It's not easy. So if you're a pastor there and you are not you are not concerned about that, and you think the person doesn't have time for God, sometimes the question is, if you were not a pastor, if you were not a pastor, and you were a church member, and you came from work to church and church to work for 3 consecutive Sundays, what would you do if you were not a pastor? The 4th Sunday, would you come to church? So we don't have to blame them.
Sure.
We just have to be sensitive and use time well. So that place, even though we are not where we need to be when it comes to church time management is better over there.
Papa, let me ask you, as we categorize that in the West and then the East, reaching the people, evangelism. I know these people is indoors. Here we can go out and do crusade, we can do street evangelism, we can do how door to door, you know. How is the evangelism style like when it comes to the diaspora mission?
Yeah, like you rightly said, it's not a space that you can do them, but because we are scattered, we don't have that numbers like here. You can do a door to door, and probably you might not reach out to many people or many of your target group, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And also, like Papa rightly said, since we are still in our Jerusalem, anytime that you are doing evangelism, your focus is on the Jerusalem and the Judea people instead of the Samaritans. And so there are few strategies that we use. One is people that come into the community. So sometimes somebody will be relocating from New York to California, and so Papa will quickly contact me that I have somebody come in and reach out to the person and take it up from there, or somebody coming from Ghana. Another tool is being on the social media space, whether on Facebook or having a website and other platforms, so that when people come, naturally they search for the church
easily. They are able to locate.
Yeah, but one thing too that pulls people away from the church is, over there when people travel, whoever that they come to stay with, naturally they follow the people.
Sure.
And so we have those instances happening whereby people travel and they go to stay with people from another
congregation, another church,
or another church,
then
and they'll start going to those
churches.
And so by the time that you reach out to them and they tell you that, oh, they are Presbyterians,
but we came, we met.
We are here now. And you know how Presbyterians also have that discipline and culture.
Sure.
So they come to your church and they avail themselves to serve. And so that is something that. But we use all the social media spaces. Okay. And some churches also do evangelism, go out there and do the door-to-door.
That's fine. That's fine to know. So if somebody is moving to any of the cities in US or within the catchment area of the North American Australian Presbytery, how do I connect? What are the measures put in place to connect to the churches nearby, or to connect to a minister or somebody standing by to get me a Presby church close by? What is the method that you're using now?
Okay, there is something we are doing which Papa Sesu is part of those who are championing it, so I will let him answer that.
So, Doc.
Yeah, and so I know the church has a system. Normally, if members are traveling, you should have typically reach out to your district minister or your local minister. The church has a directory whereby all our congregations are captured in, and they should be able to communicate and take it up from there. And so, hey, you are going to US, why are you going to? They will get all those information. But over the years, we've realized that is not working effectively. And we've seen instances whereby we just bump into people and we have to assess them.
In natural fact, naturally, Ghanaians, the way we travel,
we don't want to say.
You talk to somebody with a local line today, he won't tell you anything. In the evening, he's telling you I'm out of the country.
Exactly.
So we normally don't want to say.
Exactly. And so pastors don't even want to say.
Yes.
Recently, I reached out to somebody and he was telling me, don't inform my pastor that I'm out. And so, like Papa mentioned, through that we developed this Presby Connect app.
Okay.
And it's a tool that is going to help the church a lot, because this app, anybody that is traveling, if you don't want to even inform your minister about it, which I still encourage you to do. You can go on the app, put in your information, and we get that information. And we begin to even help you from here. Even before you move to Ghana, we will connect to you, we will interact with you, we will even link you up to, let's say you are going to Columbus where Papa Frank is. And so after the team has had an interaction with you, we will connect you to the nearest congregation there. And the app works so nicely.
So the app is found on the
Both on iOS
iOS and then Android.
Android, yes.
Okay.
And it has even all the congregations in the diaspora and other informations on it. And so that is something that we are encouraging the congregations to promote, the districts to promote, and especially our youth. We are speaking to you, take this app and push it strongly so that it becomes a thing for the church. Then we don't lose members to other situations here.
Okay, so beloved, our cherished viewers, this is something I want us to really take note of. That if you are traveling, or you know a family member who have traveled or is about to travel outside of Ghana, anywhere, Europe, UK, US, Canada, Australia, anywhere the person is, even in Asia, you know, China, wherever the person is going, let the person just go to Presby Connect on your phone. Presby, just type Presby Connect and then put your details there. Somebody will reach out to you, just as Papa said, and the person will even begin to communicate with you. Any support that you may even require will also be granted. And this is the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. We will journey with you. We will go through with you and make sure that your travel and your stay will be peaceful, as well as saving your soul, keeping you in track with God. This is beautiful. Just go there and you will be connected straight away. It is not so difficult. It's also on your phone. Presby Connect. So connect with the Presbyterian Church near you, wherever you find yourself. Keep staying with us. We are going to discuss an issue of Fahudie retreat. And even there is a Fahudie radio that we're going to talk about. And it is happening live in Australia, American Presbytery, and it is working. We are going to look at what it is, how it's being promoted in there, and what are the focus for such a program for the people over there. Stick and stay with us. Don't go away. We will be right back. Welcome back to PCG TV Diaspora Mission, and we are still discussing and talking to Reverend Dr. Sasu and Reverend Dr. Frank Adu. Frank Ado. Oh, we have Frank Adu somewhere.
Yeah.
Reverend. I remember Abetifi area. Yes.
Yeah.
Papa Frank Ado. So just as I mentioned in the program, we are going to talk about Fahudie retreat. Papa, we learned you doing something new, something great. Fahudie. What is it about? Where is it coming from? And what are the vision around it?
Okay, thank you. Fahudie retreat is a prayer retreat that we do in our presbytery. It's just like Achia, Abesia that we go. We meet annually for prayer in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And it started in 2015. Yes, and we have grown in many dimensions by God's grace. We meet annually, but we are targeting to build our own retreat center. So far, by God's grace, we have bought 20 acres of land, 10 in Dallas and 10 in Houston, which we are praying that God will help us to very soon build our own prayer retreat, which will be opened to the public. People will come there to pray and reflect. So far, what we are doing is we meet in either November or December to pray. And it is well people even some people travel from Ghana and other countries to
Different topics about marriage, about the church, about immigration, which is big from where we are coming from. One of our highlights, prayers is warfare prayers that we do it on Friday evening, and you will love it. And fortunately, it's also being led by Papa Frank, and you can't sleep that evening.
If Papa Frank is in there, then I know for music.
There's music
flowing.
Yes. And so we have that activities, and so prayer. But we have one special thing that we do at Fahudie, which we call the Do the Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dance unto the Lord.
Okay.
And it's a competition. And so after we've prayed on Thursday, we've prayed on Friday, we've prayed on Saturday, then we dedicate a Saturday evening to the dancing unto the Lord and testimony time. And that thing has grown to become very big because it is a competition between district. Formerly was locals, but now we do it district, whereby we have judges who judge those who
really?
And
I see.
It is.
It's a World Cup.
Yeah, it's a highlight of the this thing, and that thing, because of that thing too, a lot of the youth have been have been attracted to this retreat. Last year, for instance, we had, I could confidently say, we had almost half of the people that came for the retreat as youth. And if you look at the US as a continent of Africa, and people traveling, flying, taking off to be part of that program, then it means that the program is making impact on them. And Papa said we've been growing. We started with probably a little bit around 100, and now when we meet, we're almost close to 400 people gathering at a time. And getting people to gather 400 is
400
huge.
in US.
Yeah, it's almost
And almost everyone is flying. Yeah, and one other activity that I want to add is Alone with God.
Yes.
We have an activity which we do every day, Alone with God. We give you about 1 hour, 30 minutes to go somewhere and reflect about life and your journey with God, and also pray. We usually start with our families. So you pray with your family for some time, and then you go your individual ways. It has been very significant in our activities.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And people, there are many testimonies too.
Let's with the testimony portion. What has because this is something very significant, and tell us about the impact it's making when it comes to the Presbyterian Church of Ghana's Diaspora mission, doing such a mega program.
Okay. I think the first impact is that it has been a means of evangelism.
Well,
Because people come there to pray, but the word is preached. And there are people who are not Presbyterians who come, and when they come, some of them, I've seen people who have joined Presbyterian churches after the retreat.
The program.
Yeah, after being part of the retreat. And another impact is that it has announced the Presbyterian presence in the US. Because when we go for the retreat and we call for those who are not Presbyterians to stand, sometimes you see a number and you are amazed that all these people are not Presbyterians. So it has also given the Presbyterians some kind of joy that we also have our own prayer program where we can take a refuge. And also, it brings us together. It brings us together. It brings us together. There are people, you won't see them until another Fahudie.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because people are flying all over.
Yeah, and the youth. It is a program that the youth love so much. So it gives them the joy.
Sure. Talking of the youth, let me come to Dr. Sasu.
Yeah.
You are a youth coordinator. What are some of the state-based activities that you're doing over there to really capture the youth? Because we normally hear that when they grow out there, how is the work there with regards to youth ministry?
I will start from where Papa ended. Fahudie has been a ministry that has sustained the youth over the years because there was a time that the youth couldn't meet as they used to, and Foundia was giving them the platform to gather every year. And you know, some of the testimonies that normally happens at Foundia commonly is also marriage. And when youth see places where there is marriage,
We will come
then
now.
they will
We will come now.
and connect to it. But there are a lot of activities that is being planned by the Presbytery youth to engage the youth, to get them to be part of the church, because we try as much as possible to build the youth in their locales and on the district level before the activities that we do on the Presbytery level. And so our youth are doing well. Sometimes there are a few challenges here and there, but in recent times we see a lot of energy with our youth and also our JYs. And interestingly, found here too, you see JYs coming, and children's service too are also there. Yeah.
In wrapping up, I want to find out what are some of the encouraging words we want to share with our cherished viewers, so that those who are already there, those who are on their way, those who are planning for their visits to come, why they should locate the Presbyterian Church of Ghana congregations and worship with you.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to encourage everyone that is traveling outside to look for Presbyterian Church of Ghana and worship with us, because I believe that the Presbyterian Church of Ghana has the word. The word that will keep and like sustain you as a Christian. Just like we just read from the scripture during the Christmas time. The wise men, when they traveled to Jerusalem, the star that they were following disappeared. And before they became aware, they were in the house of Herod. Which nearly led to the death of Jesus. So when you get outside, keep looking for the star that leads you. Don't think you have arrived. Those who think they have arrived and stop looking for the star, most of them get lost.
Wow.
So I just want to encourage everyone. It is good to seek the Lord even when you travel. Just Google for Ghanaian church near me, or Presbyterian Church of Ghana near me, or use the Presby Connect app. Look for the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. We have the word to sustain you, and there's a place for prayer. There's a place for community life, fellowship, and everything that will help you. Even sometimes you need help beyond the gospel.
Sure.
And the church is there to help people.
Wow.
So look for us.
Wow. Dr. Sasu.
For me, I will add to what Dr. Frank said. Connect. We have a beautiful church. We have a lovely church. We have a church that will build you up in your Christian faith. And like Papa said, follow the star. Don't leave the star when you get there. And once, some of us, we've benefited so much from being part of the church family and still keeping our faith intact. And so let's connect. Let's be part of the Presby family. We are making sure that we'll get the church closer near to you. And interestingly, we are starting churches with people that are coming. So even if you connect, maybe you are a missionary that God is sending there. And we've started church with most people that have got into the area. So just connect, just go to Google, go to the Presby Global. Now it's even the Global Connect app. And so connect wherever that you are. Because everywhere. We're looking at Japan, we're looking at Brazil, we're looking at China, and everywhere in this globe. We want to make sure that in our lifetime, in our generation, the Presbyterian Church of Ghana will be there.
Will be there. The Presbyterian Church of Ghana is everywhere. Now, Korea, they have 4 ministers there who have also started the Korea work also there. And everywhere you go, we are in Dubai, Cuba, everywhere. So everywhere you go, connect to the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. Just to wrap up with you, and I want to remind you this, just as Papa Frank mentioned, never assume that you have arrived when you find yourself in the diaspora. keep looking for the star. The star that is leading you. Never lose sight of it. And that star is the word of God. And the Presbyterian Church of Ghana has the word and prayer fellowship as well. So keep connecting with the Presbyterian Church of Ghana wherever you find yourself. And you will always enjoy our fellowship, the prayer, the word, and your spirit will always be connected to God. And this has been the PCG TV Diaspora mission that you joined us. And with us was Reverend Dr. Samuel Sasu, and then Reverend Dr. Frank Frank Addo. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for passing through. And we are so grateful for the chit chat you've had with us. And we thank God for your lives there. We pray that when you're going back, may the Lord carry you and your work in there continue to be successful. God richly bless you. Beloved, it has been with me, Reverend Ebenezer Ahinkano Usu, your host for this program. And it is beautiful that you are always joining us on PCG TV to listen to more inspiration and how you can always stay connected with God. Remember, Presby Connect app on Android and on iOS. Join the Presbyterian Church of Ghana near you, and your life will never be the same. God bless you. Shalom Aleichem.
Pcg TV. In thy light, there is light.